the Pioneer viewers, I hope everyone is healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we are here with the latest reports on Russia-Ukraine war, and now we are going to share with you a very important and striking development concerning the Russian people. This issue concerns not only the Russian people, but also the president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, because the situation of the Russian people has reached an unbearable point, and the Russian citizens are now trying various ways to overcome this difficult situation and to defend their rights. One of the most peaceful ways is through protests. And one of the most important elements of the war between Russia and Ukraine is undoubtedly the people of both countries. While the Ukrainian people stand behind the Ukrainian armed forces and the Ukrainian state, the Russian people don't support the Russian armed forces in this war. And the most important reason for this is that the Russian people don't have the right to a decent life in their country. Instead of ensuring the welfare of his people, Vladimir Putin is more interested in expanding his country's territory. How do the Russian people react in this situation? Let's analyze these developments together. But before we move on to our report, I should make a small reminder that we at the Pioneer continue to bring you updates on Russia-Ukraine war. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. You know that I also read all of your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments and tell me in the comment what content you would like to see on the Pioneer channel. Let's start if you are ready, the Pioneer reports. So, the war between Russia and Ukraine has been raging for more than 2 years, and the Ukrainian armed forces have shown great determination in defending their territory, while the Russian armed forces continue their intense offensives. And it seems that this conflict will continue for a long time to come. One of the most important reasons for this is the recent critical appointments made by the Russian President Putin. Putin has recently appointed several people with economic backgrounds to key positions to the Russian armed forces, and this had led to a speculation that Putin is preparing for a protracted war. So Putin's strategic moves is seen as an indication that he is aware of Russia's growing economic problems, and Putin is now looking for ways to finance this war more cost-effectively. And the main reason for this is the attitude of the Russian people towards the war. Since the start of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the economic problems of the Russian people have worsened day by day, and the Russian people have become more and more strongly opposed to the use of their taxes to finance this unjust war. And this is something that Putin never wanted, because without the taxes of the Russian people, this war cannot continue. Recently, the Russian people have taken various actions to prevent these taxes from being used to pay for the war. And the past day was declared a day of action across Russia. People took the streets to get rid of the economic burden of the war and to ensure peace. According to the latest reports, a larger number of citizens in various regions of Russia took the streets and organized protests. In these demonstrations, people expressed their reactions against economic hardship and increasing poverty. Citizens expressed that their current living conditions have become unbearable and that they don't want to live in poverty any longer. Many participants in the demonstration used the situation as a comparison tool, pointing out that people living in other countries have better living standards, and in particular, they emphasized that living conditions in Russia are much more challenging than the other countries. And for this reason, the Russian people have been expressing their demands with their great enthusiasm and hope for a better life. However, there is one big obstacle in the way of the Russian people's demands: Vladimir Putin's administration. Citizens who believe that the current administration and policies are far from meeting the demands of the people have taken to streets to protest against this situation. During the protests that took place in recent days, the people made a press release announcing that their demands and complaints, and the expression uses in the press statements, were quite remarkable. The people harshly criticized that the economic and social policies of the current administration and demanded a more just and sustainable life. The following statements were used in the statement. We are the people of this land. We want to live happier and more prosperous. But there are obstacles in front of us, and the war has destroyed all our families. We are tired of being part of this war that does not give us the opportunity to leave. Many of us have a father, brother, sister, or son at the front, and they are sacrificing themselves for a war that they have nothing to do with in a place they have never been before. And we, by working and paying taxes here, are helping them to perish there. And the war must end. We want to live free, happy, and prosperous in our country. We want to be safe. It scares us to live with the possibility that our own army will shoot us every day, and the children of Russia are afraid. We appeal to President Putin, please stop this chaos. So, according to recent reports, the protests in Russia have unfortunately not lasted long. According to reports, a large number of Russian police intervened during these protests by Russian citizens, and there is information that many Russian citizens were arrested as a result of these interventions. It is also reported that the Russian police used violence against the protesters, including women and elderly. Whether this will break the capacity of the Russian people to resist remains to be seen. But historically, such repression usually does not diminish the resolve of people, but rather increase it. Therefore, it is foreseeable that Russian citizens may take more violent actions in the future. So while these events are unfolding, anti-Russian protests continue in Georgia. As I've mentioned in our previous reports, Putin has ushered a new era with the war in Ukraine. Georgia is one of the target countries in this period, and the Russian leader Putin wants to take over Georgia after Ukraine. For this purpose, he is cooperating with some politicians in the country. However, the Georgian people are showing resistance against this cooperation. In recent days, Georgian people once again took to the streets, and the Georgian citizens protested against the draft law allowing Russian agents to travel freely in the country. These protests demonstrate the Georgian people's deep discontent with Russia and their determination to resist. This social movement in Georgia are a strong demonstration of the will of the people and their desire for freedom. According to reports from the region, many Georgian citizens showed strong reactions against the Russian leader Putin and Russia, and it is also reported that Georgian citizens chanted slogans in favor of Ukraine. Georgian leader, on the other hand, preferred to remain silent on this issue, and it is stated that Russian leader Putin is closely following these developments. But I want to know, what do you think? Do you think the violent interventions of the Russian police will further increase the willingness of citizens to protest? What changes do you think these protests could lead to in the Russian domestic politics? And what measures is Vladimir Putin expected to take in the face of these protests? Let me know in the comments, because you know that I read and I care a lot about all of your comments.